Hey everyone, this is PZA totalwar, and in today's video I'm going to showcase all of the new unusual locations we have gotten in update 6.3 for Total War Warhammer 3. So the first location we're going to talk about is going to be the unstable chaos portal. So each turn there is a 20% chance a random region in this province will be raised excluding this region. It also provides you with 100% additional income from all the buildings in that local region. For example, let's say you're making 400 coins from a building in your region. With this effect, it's gonna give you 800 coins instead, and also plus 20 chaos undivided corruption in the local region. When any region in this province is currently raised, we get an additional 100% income from all the buildings in the local region, and also 5 additional Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity for all region owner armies. And when all regions in this province, excluding this region, are currently raised, when all the regions in this province, excluding this region, are currently raised, we get a 10% per turn chance to gain a magical item, and I believe this is actually stackable, which gives you additional percentage to gain a magical item per turn. And each turn there is a 20% chance a random region in the world will be raised excluding this region, and this could cause a lot of chaos, and also additional 200% income from all the buildings local region. So if every region except this region in this province is raised, you're gonna make a total of 400% off of your buildings. So let's say your region in total makes 1000 coins. With all of these bonuses, you're gonna make an additional 4000 coins on top of your 1000 coins, so 5000 coins out of one region. If you're lucky enough and you get it in a major settlement, you can actually make a lot of money. I didn't really specialize this major settlement to make money for me because I'm playing the Lizardman and I need additional capacity for my heroes. But if you're unlucky enough to get it in a minor settlement, then good luck, because minor settlements can go up to level 3. And minor settlements don't have as much potential to make money as the major settlements, obviously. And this is also very interesting. I believe in the 10 turns that I had all of these activated, I've seen 4 regions throughout the whole world get raised. And every time a random settlement gets raised, because of this, you get this pop-up at the beginning of your turn, and you have a couple of options. You can either choose the life goes on, which does nothing. You can do this option, show me the location. It pans the camera to the raised region, and all fog of war is going to get revealed in the raised region for this turn. Or you can choose to embrace the chaos, which gives plus 10 chaos undivided corruption to every province in the world, and gives you this modifier, the portal wakes, for 2 turns, which reduces your diplomatic relations with all factions by 20 for 2 turns. I don't know why anyone would want to take this unless you're doing it this is to a lower campaign and you don't really care. Or you can choose this option, I really don't care, which will seize all the event pop-ups related to the chaos portal. But the chaos portal will still continue to raise regions throughout the world. This could also target your own settlements, so if you have a lot of settlements throughout the world, there's a good chance it's going to raise one of those regardless of them being low or high level, minor or major settlement. You can always destroy this location for 7000 coins, but honestly I wouldn't mind adding a little bit of a chaos and randomness to the campaign every once in a while. I would say keep this unusual location if you've gotten it in a 3 settlement province in a major settlement, because if it's in the minor settlement, I would just recommend destroying that location, because you're not going to get that much bonus out of that one minor settlement in terms of income. And as I explained before, major settlements have a higher potential to make you money for most factions. I did a little bit of research, and this would only appear in the provinces that have 3 or more settlements, so it cannot even appear in 1 settlement or 2 settlement provinces. So the very best situation is getting it in a 3 settlement province in a major settlement. The great thing about the unstable chaos portal is that you can get them as every single race. So the second unusual location is the Elven Forts. So Elven Forts is only available to Bretonnia, Dwarves, Grand Cathay, Kislev, Lizardmen, Ogres, Empire, Tomb Kings, and the Wood Elves. So you're not going to get this as the High Elves or the Dark Elves. It gives 40 diplomatic relations with the High Elves, 5 growth, 5% additional tradable resources produced for settlement owner, so this is a faction-wide bonus, and plus 10% additional income from all the building in the local region. And it also provides 4 Lothan Sea Guards with shields in the garrison, very nice building, especially that 40 additional diplomatic relations with the High Elves as any of the Order factions is going to be a massive help, which comes with the benefit of having a higher chance of getting alliances and trade deals with these guys. The Abandoned Forge of Hashut, so plus 20% chance to forge a unique item when fusing 2 rare items. This is extremely useful because as far as I know, this is the only thing that increases the chance of getting a purple item when you fuse 2 blue items together, because usually when you fuse items it only gives you a scrap and there's a really low chance of it actually giving you a purple item. But with this, we will increase the chance of getting a purple item. There we go. I fused 3 sets of blue items and I already got a purple item. It also provides you with 10 additional diplomatic relations with the Chaos Dwarves, and units recruited in this province have a permanent plus 20 armor bonus, which is absolutely amazing. I really love buildings or unusual locations that provide you some sort of permanent bonus on the units you recruit in that unique province, because this is a feature we had in historical Total War games. We never had this feature in Total War Warhammer, so it makes it unique to recruit units in this particular province so they can have a permanent 20 armor bonus. And spoiler alert, there are more unusual locations that provide you some sort of permanent bonus for the units you recruit in the province they are in. It also provides the province with plus 25 chaos on divider corruption and a Kadai destroyer in the garrison, which is absolutely amazing. One of the biggest monsters in the game for free for a garrison. Look how good this boy looks in the Lizardman garrison. So we get to another insane unusual location, the Covenant Laboratory. So Crimson Plague, there's a 5% chance per turn for the weak plague to infect this region. This is bad. Why? Because when this settlement has no active plagues, it enables replenishment and foreign territory, immune to all non-plague attrition, Winds of Magic cost reduction of 20% for all the spells, and plus 10% casualty replenishment rate for all regional armies. So there's a 5% chance you're going to lose all of these amazing bonuses. There's a 1% chance per turn for the damaging plague to infect most of your faction. This is obviously way stronger than this weak plague, and it could cause some trouble for your armies and settlement for a while. But there is a 0.01% chance per turn for a devastating plague to infect the entire world. And this devastating plague will absolutely cripple the whole world. Let me tell you why. Because this plague affects non-Nurgle armies and settlements in all of these ways. All units suffer attrition. Each turn there is a 1% chance a random unit in this army will be killed, minus 5% casualty replenishment rate, all units in the army. The plague afflicted, which damages your units in the battlefield per second. I'm not exactly sure how much damage it does, but it is very devastating. Minus 10 armor, minus 5% weapon strength, minus 20 growth, plus 5 Nurgle corruption, minus 15% income from all the buildings, and minus 1 local recruitment capacity for the local province. But it affects the Nurgle armies and settlements in positive ways, plus 10% casualty replenishment rate for all units in the army, and plus 5 leadership for all units in the army. Another 20 Nurgle corruption, which is great for Nurgle. But these are not all, because this plague's duration is 15 turns and the infectivity is 100% spread chance. Immunity duration for non-Nurgle forces and settlements is 0 turns. So as soon as you finish having this, you're gonna get it again if there is a nearby settlement or army that already has this. So random locations throughout all of the world will get this effect right away, and it will spread with 100% chance with 15 turns of duration. And the only ways to get rid of this is kill the armies that have it and raise the settlements that have it before they spread it to the nearby settlements. But the thing is, the army that is doing this dirty job is going to get infected by this plague, and unfortunately you have to disband that army in order to contain the plague, or else they're going to spread that plague to nearby regions and armies. And as soon as you're unlucky enough to get this 0.01% chance to trigger, your campaign is going to be all about surviving, and you probably shouldn't care about what goals you had before the spawning. And it also gives a plus 20 Nurgle corruption in the local region, and this is kind of easy to contain as long as you have a load of corruption deduction factors stacking up, such as characters, local armies, technologies, or your buildings in that province. Probably one of the best unusual locations that we have gotten in this update. It's a pretty cheap building to get rid of. You can pay 5,000 coins to get rid of it, but honestly, why would you want to get rid of this? There's a really low chance that any of these two at least are going to happen. This one could happen and you could lose all of these bonuses for a while until the plague is active, but these two happening are extremely unlikely. But at the end of the day, you get to roll the dice. The Warpstone Meteor impact, you can get this as any race except the Skaven. It gives you plus 20 research rate to your faction and plus 30 Skaven corruption in the local region. When the Skaven corruption is 100 or more, I don't understand what is the deal with this or more, because 100 is the maximum amount of corruption any settlement could have of any sort of corruption. It's kind of stupid to me that it says like 100 or more. When the Skaven corruption gets to 100, you get additional 30 research rate. So essentially it is 50 free research rate that your faction could get. Extremely useful, especially in the early game. Cult of Pleasure is another unusual location that we have gotten. Unit experience gained per turn plus 100 all armies in the region, and character experience gain per turn plus 200 for all the characters in the region. So when the Slaanesh corruption is less than 100, you're gonna get plus 10 Slaanesh corruption in the local region, and each turn there is a 2% chance to spawn a Slaanesh cult in one of your regions, excluding this region. So it could be any of your regions throughout your empire. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the same province, and it can obviously get rid of the Slaanesh corruption by paying some sort of money, 2 to 5k I believe. I don't exactly remember how much it was, but when the Slaanesh corruption is 100 or more, each turn there is a 10% chance to spawn a Slaanesh cult in one of your regions. So from 2% it jumps to 10%. When normally killed in action, your lords will be wounded instead, all regional armies. So essentially all of your lords are going to become immortal, extremely useful, and immune to diplomatic penalties from trespassing, again for all of your armies. And there's going to be Slaanesh corruption in the adjacent provinces plus 10 and Slaanesh corruption plus 30 in the local region. So I believe this building doesn't have that much negative because you can easily contain these Slaanesh corruptions in this region and adjacent provinces with corruption reducing effects that it's kind of easy to stack up for many races by the mid game at least, and you're going to get 2 very useful effects. Cult of Pleasure is available to all the races except Slaanesh, which kind of does make sense because, you know, getting to 100 Slaanesh corruption as Slaanesh is extremely easy. But the thing is, the Warriors of Chaos Slaanesh aligned characters such as Azazel and Sigvold can also easily get to 100 Slaanesh corruption. So it's kind of weird why Slaanesh is the only one that doesn't get this, but Warriors of Chaos do get it. Faulty Doomsphere. This location will be extremely costly to remove, -5 control, and challenges of the Dark Gods completion rate plus 10 for settlement's owner. So this could be extremely useful for the Warriors of Chaos, so you can finish your challenges of the Dark Gods a lot more earlier and reap the bonuses a lot more faster. And it also gives plus 8 Skaven corruption in the local region. So when the Skaven corruption reaches 0, the Doomsphere will be removed safely. When the Skaven corruption reaches 100, the Doomsphere will detonate, and I believe it will raise that settlement that Doomsphere is in. It might destroy the whole province, it might destroy a couple of provinces around it. I have no idea, honestly. If anyone knows this, let me know in the comments down below. Obviously you cannot get this as a Skaven, but every other race can have access to this. Primordial spawning pools, obviously this is only available to the Lizardmen. Extremely useful because upkeep reduction of 15% for the blessed units and 5% additional income from all the buildings in local region. And when the control is 50 or more, you're going to get immunity to contact effect for all of the blessed units, and an additional 15% cost reduction of upkeep for all the blessed units. So you can get up to 30% total upkeep reduction for your blessed units, making your blessed units a lot more affordable. And on top of all of that, it provides you with 5 units in the garrison, 2 blessed Saurus warriors with shields, 2 blessed skink skirmishers, and 1 blessed stegodon. All of these units as an extra garrison, let's say in a minor settlement, makes that minor settlement garrison even better than some of the major settlements. Kind of enjoyed this when I was playing my Lizardman campaign, but for some reason it actually disappeared for me, so I had to find the picture from somewhere else. So we get to another one of the most insane unusual locations that we have gotten in this patch, and that is the Tower of Cabal. So I believe the first time you get the Tower of Cabal, the current power level is always going to start with 10% or maybe 0%, I'm not exactly sure. So how exactly does it work? If a character ends a turn in this region with 20 or more legendary lord defeat rates, this location will be removed, and predestined plans, the Cabal will become more powerful in all future campaigns. So as soon as you get this one time and complete it in any campaign, you're not gonna get any more of these. But in your future campaigns, if you get this, the power is going to be increased. So every time you complete this and remove this location, you improve your power level by 10%. And if the Cabal's power level is 30% or more, which I believe in order to get to this, you have to complete this 2 times. Expedited schemes. Each time you destroy an enemy faction, you gain an effect lasting 1 turn that provides near instant recruitment and construction. And then when the Cabal's power level is 50% or more, you're gonna get the Flawless Machinations. After losing a settlement to an enemy force, there's a 5% chance that the force will be destroyed and the settlement returned. I'm not exactly sure if it will return the settlement at the level it was before it got attacked, but if anyone knows this, let me know in the comments down below. By the way, when you get this activated, you already have this as activated, and when you get to this, you're gonna have both of these as activated. Very nice unusual location. And when the Cabal power level is 70% or more, inevitable consequences. After conquering a region, there is a 10% chance you will automatically occupy the entire province. Honestly, these are really amazing. And if the Cabal power level is 90% or more, impossible outcomes, there is a 2% chance per turn that one of your enemies will have their entire faction utterly destroyed. Imagine you're going up against the second strongest faction in the game with 20 armies and 30 settlements. There's a 2% chance they can randomly get destroyed when your Cabal power level is 90% or more. How exciting is that? This causes so much chaos in the campaigns, which are always in your favor. It might take 2 years for a regular person to get to maybe even 30%. Who knows? I don't know how likely it is for you to get the Tower of Cabal as an unusual location, but I know that you can get this as every single race except Zinch and Beastman for some reason. I'm very excited to get to play around with this a little bit and hopefully get to these 90% effects eventually someday and see how likely it is to trigger any of these in the future campaigns when I have them activated. Very exciting. It causes so much chaos and also adds a little bit of a randomness to every single one of the campaigns. I'm a really big fan of this. I kind of want to see more of these unusual locations that will affect your future campaigns in some way, shape, or form. A Dark Gift, an ancient chaos shrine that you can only get as a non-chaos aligned factions, except Beastman for some reason. You can get this as Beastman, kind of fun. Diplomatic relations -10 with all factions, +10 chaos on divided corruption in the local region. You get a permanent 20% additional melee attack, 10% additional melee defense, and 10 additional armor for the units you recruit in this province. Imagine you have the Abandoned Forge of Hashut and the Dark Gift in the same province, and that's going to give you additional 30 permanent armor, 10% additional melee defense, and 20% additional melee attack for your units, making them a lot more better. Again, I really love these unusual locations that add some sort of permanent bonus to the units you recruit in that particular province, incentivizing you to build your units in that particular province because they make them better. And every time a unit is recruited in this province, there's a 5% chance a random chaos aligned legendary lord will gain 10 ranks. There's a 10% chance a random province in the world will gain 100 chaos corruption, not that big of a deal honestly. And there's a 5% chance a random chaos aligned legendary lord's army will gain maximum experience for all its units. Honestly, the downside of this is not that bad. -10 diplomatic relations with all factions kind of suck, but everything else is kind of reasonable for the bonuses it is giving you. So the Dark Gift, really interesting unusual location. I like this as well. Unearthed Tomb, which is a unique unusual location for the Tomb Kings, extremely useful. +2 unit capacity for the Tomb Guard, +2 unit capacity for the Tomb Guard with halberds, +2 unit capacity for Ushoptis and Ushoptis with great bows, and +1 unit capacity for the Necrofangs, and +10 diplomatic relations with the Tomb Kings. And when the control is 90 or more, you get an additional 1 army capacity and also 10 more diplomatic relations with the Tomb Kings. I'm really enjoying the love that the Tomb Kings are getting at the moment, and this is super amazing for them. Very handy in Tomb Kings campaigns, especially the unit capacities could be a pain to get in the early game, and this could allow you to get more of your elite units earlier as soon as you get their buildings. The Carnival of Nurgle, chance for the character in this region to gain a trait associated with this location, which I will show you in a second, +5 control and +20 Nurgle corruption in the local region. And when the Nurgle corruption is 50 or more, a small chance of a random plague breaking out at the start of each turn in the local region, and +5 Nurgle corruption in adjacent provinces. And the trait you can get from this is the Father's Crown, which gives +100% chance of plague spreading for Lord's army and +10 turns plague duration for Lord's army. So if you get the plague, you're kind of screwed because there's a 100% spread chance and +10 turn of duration. But as long as you make sure you don't get a plague, it's completely going to be amazing because it's going to give you 50 growth in the local province, the Fetid Stench, which is -8 leadership for nearby enemies, the Pestilence Decay, which is a Mortis engine, 16 to 32 damage per second as long as you're in melee combat, and Perfect Vigor. In most cases, this is going to be an amazing trait. Perfect for any character, especially melee ones. The Carnival of Nurgle is available to all races except Nurgle, so this could be very useful. The fact that the Warriors of Chaos have access to this, meaning Festus has access to this, is kind of weird because he would benefit even from the negatives of this. The Peck Street Pawnbroker. The Pawnbroker will periodically offer you items for sale via events, +10% chance to gain a magic item per turn. Again, this is stackable, so very useful. 5% additional income from all the buildings in the local region. And when all the items have been purchased, an event will soon trigger and this location will be removed. When control is 90 or more, the Pawnbroker's items will be half priced. These are the 3 items you can purchase. 2 of them are for around 4,000 coins. 1 of them is 6,000 coins. So the first one, that is 4,000 coins, Armor of the Oceans. It provides you with 10% missile resistance, 20% physical resistance. The Tidecall Bounce spell, which is a breath type spell, and you have 4 uses of it, and also passive ability regeneration when fighting at sea. useful trait, especially if you are playing as a vampire coast. The Sea Shanty Talisman gives you 10% additional post-battle chance of selling a magic item, 5% additional income from sacking settlements, 30% spell resistance, and army ability Shanty Third Wears, which is the vampire coast army ability that you get after finishing their main quest of climbing through their infamy rankings. So for 30 seconds, it gives 40 additional melee defense and reload skill for all of your units map wide with cooldown of 120 seconds. Very useful, and you get that from an item for only 4,000 coins. And the last item, which is around 6,000 coins, the Baron's Blade. It enables lightning strike battles when reinforcements are present, enables Sundering Attack, which reduces the melee attack of enemies by 30, and weapon strength plus 25%, and the passive ability Life Leeching, which for spellcasters is really decent, because with every single spell that they're going to cast, they're going to generate additional power reserves for your Winds of Magics. This unusual location is only available to Bretonnia, Dwarves, Grand Cathay, High Elves, Kislev, Lizardmen, Empire, and the Vampire Coast. The Dwarf construction site, a chance for events to trigger related to this location, which I'm going to show later. Diplomatic relations plus 20 with the Dwarves, minus 50% construction cost for all the buildings local province, and construction time deduction of 33% for all the buildings in the local province. But the downside is heavy supply usage. Defenders will begin siege battles with no defensive supplies, only in the local region, which I can live with. And the event related to this is too little work. You can either compensate them with 2,500 coins, and the Dwarf Construction Company will leave your region permanently, or you can let them leave. Too little work, you get some sort of debuff modifier, which I honestly have no idea what it is about. If anyone knows this, let me know in the comments down below. And the Dwarf Construction Company will still leave your region permanently. You can choose one of these options, and you're gonna have this negative modifier for 10 turns. The Dwarf Construction site is only available to Bretonnia, Dwarves, Grand Cathay, High Elves, Kislev, Lizardmen, Empire, and the Wood Elves. Essentially all of the Order factions. The Crimson Skull Chamber is available to every race except Khorne or the Warriors of Chaos. Khorne sanction. Each time you declare war on a faction, all Khorne corruption in this province will be removed. This location will be extremely costly to remove. I'm not exactly sure how much it is to remove this, because I haven't personally gotten this myself. Plus 20 Khorne corruption, local region, and when the Khorne corruption is 100 or more, Khorne's parting gifts, you will instantly declare war on 10 random factions, and this location will be removed. But if you can keep the Khorne corruption below 50, you gain plus 20% base weapon damage and plus 50% charge bonus for all your armies. An amazing bonus, especially for Bretonnia, which can use this charge bonus on almost every single one of the units that is not a peasant. Spawning the Crimson Skull is not completely random. It does have some requirements. The location that is going to get this unusual location has to have below 50 Khorne corruption, and your faction leader, Scarbrand, Arwald the Undefeated, Skulltaker, or Valkia the Bloody. I know Valkia is not Khorne technically, but she's a Khorne aligned Warriors of Chaos character. Sartosan Vault can only appear in settlements with a port and available to all races except Beastmen, Demons of Chaos, Greenskins, Khorne, Nurgle, Skaven, Tomb Kings, and the Warriors of Chaos. There is a chance for events to trigger related to this location. Diplomatic relations plus 50 with the Vampire Coast, -2 control, -5 diplomatic relations with all factions, -30% income from trade tariff for your faction, and plus 10% income from post-battle loot faction-wide. And whenever the event happens, it gives you a random amount of money anywhere between 2,000 to 11,000 coins, and stolen loot, which is diplomatic relationship -100 with a random race. For example, this time it has appeared Kislev. It could appear any other race like Khorne, Slanesh, or Zinch. In my opinion, this unusual location is not even that good because of -5 diplomatic relations with all factions and -30% income from trade tariff. For the races that don't make that much money from the trade, kind of makes sense to keep this for that additional 10% income from post-battle loot. But for most races that can get this, trade is going to be very valuable, especially in the mid-game. So reducing relations with all factions and reducing income from trade, it is absolutely horrible. And even more diplomatic relationship reduction because of the event. If I'm not mistaken, the event can happen every 8 to 10 turns. It could give you some money, but again, it's just not worth it in my opinion. Probably one of the worst unusual locations that we have gotten in this recent patch. The Underworld Sea Entrance, which can only appear in certain Nagaron provinces, which I will mention in a minute, available to all races except Bretonnia, Dwarves, High Elves, Lizardmen, Empire, and Wood Elves. So every other race can get this. But the Dark Elves get a unique version of this. So the effects are as follows: Underworld Sea Travel Time -2, Settlement Owner, and Sea Lane Journey Duration -1 turn. What this means is that your Sea Lane journeys and the Underworld Sea Travel is going to be instantaneous. So you can just bring your armies to these locations, click on them, and you're going to instantly teleport to the other side of the sea node in that same turn. Very useful. Diplomatic Relationship -20 with the Dark Elves, and attribute Causing Terror when fighting against the Dark Elves, all region owner armies. But that's not all, because you get 7 War Hydras in that freaking garrison. Holy crap, man. That is probably the most insane garrison any building provides in the whole game. This is absolutely ridiculous. And for the Dark Elves, again, same exact bonus. So Underworld and the Sea Lane journeys are going to be instantaneous. Diplomatic Relations +50 with all of the Dark Elves, +2 loyalty for new recruits for the Settlement Owners faction, and 5% physical resistance for War Hydra units for your whole faction. And again, 7 War Hydras in the garrison. So the Dark Elves location I mentioned are the Iron Foothills, the Black Flood, the Obsidian Peaks, the Iron Mountains, the Iron Coast, the Spiteful Peaks, the Road of Skulls, the Red Desert, and the Doom Glades. Ogre Mercenary Camp is available to all races except the Ogre Kingdoms. So you get 100 diplomatic relations with the Ogre Kingdoms, -20 growth in the local province, +2% replenishment rate for all of your armies, -20% upkeep for all Ogre Kingdom units, including the mercenaries for all of your armies, +10% permanent melee defense for units recruited in this province, which is similar to the other two that I've already shown you. They give permanent bonuses to the unit you recruit in that particular province that you have the unusual location in, -10% income from all the buildings in the local region, and +1 global recruitment capacity for your faction. And on top of all that, it provides you with some additional units in the garrison: 2 Ogre Bows with Iron Fist, Ishin Maneater, which is the Ninja Ogre, Regiment of Renown that you can get as your Ogre Kingdom, and the Thunder Tusk in the freaking garrison. The -20 growth could hurt you in the early game, at least in that local province, but overall, it is a very beneficial building to have in any one of your regions. Cathayan Caravan, only available to Bretonnia, Dark Elves, Dwarves, High Elves, Kislev, Lizardmen, Ogres, Empire, and the Wood Elves. Chance for events to trigger related to this location, +2 control in the local province, +3 growth in the local province, and +1% income from all the buildings, local regions, and a small chance for this caravan to depart each turn. So when the dilemma happens, you have 2 options: either force the toll payments, which is gonna give you 1000 coins, or take their cargo, which is gonna give you 2000 coins. Statue of Zor and Experimental Explosive. Statue of Zor gives +2 Chaos Undivided Corruption local region and -25% cooldown for all the spells. An Experimental Explosive is the same item you can get as Elspeth's faction. Experimental Explosive, and 10% additional explosive missile damage and missile explosion radius for all units in the army. And the caravan rated, you're gonna have this for 15 turns, which is gonna give you -100 diplomatic relations with Grand Cathay and -5 leadership when fighting against Cathayan factions, all armies. You can take both options, it doesn't really matter. It's not that impactful, but if you get this, obviously you're gonna have horrible relations with all of the Grand Cathayan factions, so there's a good chance they're gonna declare war at you unless you already are their buddies and they already love you, so this doesn't impact that much. But if that's not the case, they are definitely going to hate your guts and eventually declaring war at you. So now let's get to the last unusual location, the Purple Hand Safehouse. Once the Purple Hand has spread to 9 locations worldwide, they will leave this location, and it also shows the current locations. For example, in this particular campaign, this person had 6 out of 9 hideouts already established. So the bonuses are as follows: campaign movement range +9%, construction cost reduction of 9% for all the buildings, +9% income from all buildings, 9 additional Invisible Magic Power Reserve capacity for all armies, 9 additional Invisible Magic Power Reserve capacity for all the armies, and 9% additional unit experience gain for all the armies. When Zinj Corruption is less than 50, you get 15 Zinj Corruption in that region per turn, and each turn there is a 3% chance a Purple Hand will spread to another region somewhere in the world. And when the Zinj Corruption is above 50, each turn there is a 33% chance the Purple Hand will spread to another region somewhere in the world, and the Zinj Corruption is going to go down to +7 Zinj Corruption per turn in the local region. And the army ability Arcane Sage for all of your armies, which I've heard from people that it doesn't actually work at the moment. They might fix it in one of the future hotfixes, but at the moment it doesn't work. The cost to remove the safe house is initially 6,000 coins, but when you start having some hideouts, the cost will increase to 11,000 coins. And the Purple Hand hideouts are going to have these effects. The Purple Hand hideout, the Architect of Fate. This place seems part of a grander plan. Diplomatic relations +9 with Zinch and factions for your faction, +9 Zinch corruption in the local region, and +1 Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity for all region owner armies. And if the Purple Hand's main safe house is forcibly removed, each turn there is a 20% chance for this location to be destroyed, -9 control in the local province, +100 Zinch corruption in the local region. That is absolutely insane. And Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity -9 for all region owner armies, and -9% spell resistance for all region owner armies as well. The hideouts cost 90,000 coins to get destroyed. I believe when you get to these 9 locations worldwide, this safe house is gonna disappear alongside all of the Purple Hand hideouts. I'm not sure if anything happens in this campaign or future campaigns, so if anyone knows, let me know in the comments down below. But anyways guys, these are all the new unusual locations we have gotten in update 6.3. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Let me know which one of these unusual locations is your favorite one in this update. If you want to check out all the trade changes in update 6.3, click on this video. This is PZA Total War, and I will see you guys later.